So the story I'm going to tell is a recent story. It's from this past summer. I've been living in Egypt for a few months, and was getting ready to come back here to the United States, and I decided to visit some friends in Israel and the West Bank. And flights turned out to be pretty expensive from Cairo to Tel Aviv, so I decided that I would travel overland as my forebears had, from the pyramids to the Holy Land. And it didn't take 40 years. It took about 2 days on a bus across the Sinai. Sinai's a pretty exciting place. It's a little dicey right now. There's a pretty active insurgency going on there that the government can't really control. Maybe James Palmer's been there. I won't ask him to tell us, but traveling across the Sinai by bus, you get to the border with Israel in a very remote place, a place called Taba. And at the Taba crossing, as it's called by both the Egyptians and the Israelis, there's a great hall. It's a big marble hall, clearly designed to facilitate the transfer of thousands, hundreds at least, people a day, across the border. But unsurprisingly, after this past summer, not a whole lot of people traveling between Israel and Egypt overland. So I was the only person there. This great hall, and I think I was probably the only person who crossed the border that day. But they had a full complement of Egyptian army soldiers and border control officers, ready to process me. So I entered the hall and came to the table where I was intended to put my bags up on the table to be searched. And at this point, I realized that I'm carrying a small wearable camera in my pocket. And the Egyptian military is frequently warned the degree to which American spies are trying to discover Egyptian secrets, and that anybody from America is probably a spy, and is probably there to gather intelligence. So I realize I have this in my pocket, and I realize this is going to be a long ordeal now. They immediately asked me to turn out my pockets and find the small camera that I have. So then they're going to give me the full treatment. It's not like they were doing anything else today anyway. So they take every article of clothing out of my suitcase, out of my suitcases, everything out of my pockets, and are just inspecting it very, very carefully. And none of them speak English, and my Arabic is very, very limited. And so after gesturing a great deal about pyramids and pictures of the pyramids, taking selfies with this little camera, I have not fully convinced them that I'm not a spy, unsurprisingly. So they do decide to call over their superior, who is a captain and who speaks some English. And the captain comes over, and I'm pretty sure there's a little bit of rank inflation going on in the Egyptian military, because everybody and their mom is at least a captain. And the captain comes over and asks me if I speak Arabic. Shway Arabic, very little Arabic. And he starts going through my stuff as well and says, he says in Arabic, in andik bet, which means, do you have an egg? And my Arabic is at best very, very contextual, and this was not the appropriate context for that question. And so I said, what? And he said in English, an egg. And I realized at this point that he's opened up my Arabic textbook out of my suitcase and is reading from one of the lessons where Ahmed asks Mona, do you have an egg? And I say, no, but I like eggs. all of this in my very limited Arabic. And they laugh, and the captain says, okay, you can go. And I told this story to several people, and people thought it was, pretty amusing on the face of it. And I finally told it to one of my Egyptian friends, and he said, well, you realize egg can also mean testicles. Do you have balls? No, but I like balls. All right, I get it. Funny stuff. So that was my first experience crossing a national boundary on foot. That's pretty much the end of my story.